Welcome back, everybody, to the Dumb Stuff We Like podcast with Brian and Chris.
Hey, we're back.
Oh, we're back, baby. You know, it's second podcast, December. You know what I'm saying? We gotta let them know it's cold out here. It's getting cold. It's got cold today. No,
It was warm and then it got really
it got cold
cold.
today. It was warm. It was warm as shit yesterday.
Climate change.
Yeah, they need to get Greta on that. You know what I'm saying?
Weather machine.
Weather machine. That'd be hype. Cloudy with a chance of meatballs. What would you do if meatballs fall from the sky, bro?
I like meatballs, but I don't like meatballs like that.
I don't like ground meatballs.
I would probably take it and put it home
Meatballs,
and
ground
like
beef.
freeze them because you could eat that for days.
Like a bucket. That would. How much? I'm trying to think about like how this would like solve world hunger.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
how? Okay,
yeah.
or even me thinking. I think like things logically for real. Like how would like some straight spaghetti, like some homemade spaghetti, affect somebody who just isn't used to eating that kind of food? How would that fuck them up?
It wouldn't. It's a pretty basic grain. It's a noodle.
So you say that.
No, that's pretty. Everybody has grains in their diet.
You say, but except somebody who's fucking starving to death, they ain't got nothing. They die. That's kind of the thing.
Even they have grains in their diet.
I'm sure you believe that.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, we're back this week. That was a tangent. You know what I'm saying? This is just normal. It's normal stuff here. First, you gotta pay the bills. Donate something to somebody. I don't care who it is. I don't care what it is. Donate something to somebody. It's the giving season.
It is the giving season. Give
So
us money.
give something to somebody.
Give
You know what I'm
us something. How about that?
saying? Right. A little bit of your time helps. Money helps more.
Yeah. Listen to us, please.
Please listen.
We could use some listeners. That'd
We
be
need
great.
your money.
We don't want to sound like beggars, but
Please.
but please.
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 Please. But yeah, give something to somebody. It's giving season, holiday season. Tell somebody you care about them. If you care about them, and if you don't care about them,
Tell them that too.
then
Tell them. Be
maybe
honest.
Not,
you know
not.
what? No.
Just be
screw
honest.
It. Just
Be
double
honest.
down. You know what? If you don't like them, tell them you don't like them. Tell them in the most honest and straightforward way possible. And if you really don't like them, lean into it. Just be like, yo, I really can't stand your guts. You're the scum between my toes. You're
Love
like,
alfalfa.
yeah, exactly.
Or if you really don't like them, you tell them why you don't like them. Be like, yeah, man, we're bumping heads because of this, and it could be something they're not aware of. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't know.
I will beat your ass. No cap. That's what you got to tell them.
No cap.
No cap.
If you don't stop snitching right now, I'll beat your ass. No cap.
No cap. But yeah, it's the
It's the season for relationships. You know what I'm
season for
saying?
giving,
Season for
giving gifts,
These
giving
hands.
kind words, and giving these hands out.
These hands is ready to eat for everyone. Anybody can get it.
We're about gender equality here.
Right. I mean, I don't know that was just a random thing to say. I would just say eat for everyone.
No,
just
I'm
you
saying
fight
anybody can get their ass whooped. It don't matter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
The
don't know
implications
about-
were there, and I'm doubling down on it.
Okay.
Anybody can get beat, me included. I'm just saying.
Okay. And with that, speaking of a woman he couldn't get him hands to, Wonder Woman trailer
You
dropped.
say that, but it's true.
Wonder Woman trailer dropped, and she would give you them hands, and she was giving people hands in the trailer.
Yeah, she was giving people hands, and she was batting bullets back at them. And
Right.
classic Wonder Woman stuff.
Like what? It's not chambered. You put the slide. I'm not sure what it's called. Guns. I'm not all that. But she made the bullet fly out the gun. She
Yeah, no,
was
she
it
did
cocked-
though. She popped it.
primed the pistol. The bullet flew out, and she went to deflect. They didn't show her deflecting because they know that she would have been too far for the trailer. They had to say that for the movie. You know she's
Right.
gonna do it, so it's like they get to save the actual payoff of that for the movie. I like that.
Yeah,
I'm
she
gonna
pulled the
show
slide.
second
She
trailer.
pulled the slide forward. The bullet came out of the chamber,
and flew up,
It
and she was about to
ejected.
fucking
And she-
slap the shit out of it with her
and
wrist.
she smacked it out of the way.
Which, the force she would have to exert in that little bit of space to make that bullet do something to hurt somebody is gonna be
Yeah,
obscene.
it'd be
realistic.
funnier if she just smacks it and it's just like, ow, like it just hits someone like kind of in the eye, and they're
ow.
like, ow, man, why would you
Why
do that,
would
you
do
jerk?
this? Asshole. And it's supposed to be like they show her like Spider-Maning on lightning,
Oh,
which
dude, they look so sick, and also it's very
Yeah.
confusing.
I have
Power
1,000
scaling
questions.
Yeah.
I mean that looks cool, but I mean realistically, it just all you really need to do is have a whip that's really long and immunity to lightning, and then you can just do that.
Not
I guess.
really. The reason I think she's able to do it is because her whip is magic. Her rope.
Okay, I mean, yes.
The rope is magic.
Yes.
And that lets her do magic stuff.
Lasso. Her lasso.
Her lasso. Sorry.
Is magic.
What did I say? Whip.
Yeah,
I'm
whip,
talking
I
about
said whip. But you said
The
rope.
original Wonder Woman, it was a whip. So don't at
Lasso
me.
of truth.
Don't at me. It's the facts.
Yeah,
She was in.
she's using like a
It was
whip.
BDSM back in the day. So
Right. I mean, hey, they,
That's the original-
They BDSM her or not BDSM her. They go
They
they go
BDSM
classic
her.
Wonder Woman with this new outfit though. Like they
Well,
slide
it's,
from.
it's the 84.
Yeah.
It's the 80s. Like
They slide-
the lady who played her.
I
Dude,
couldn't-
I don't know.
I named
but
them. I
that was
wasn't
before my
alive.
time, dude.
I wasn't alive.
I'm not.
So I got nothing. I got nothing
I
for
just
names. But yeah,
know-
they went with the classic.
Yeah,
The
It looks
young
good.
classic.
Gal
Fine.
Gadot looks. I mean, she always looks amazing, and I like the design. The armor is like showcased in the trailer.
Yeah.
The golden armor,
Yeah.
golden
With the
eagle,
wings.
has wings. Which
Hey, I don't
does she
know.
fly? Like
I-
she kind of flies in the
imagine-
trailer a little
imagine-
bit.
I mean,
In Batman
I
v
think she'll be
Superman,
able
she
to fly-
flies a
I
little
think
bit.
she'll be able to fly in that armor, but I think they show like her like dropping the wings off it. So I think it's gonna be like a thing of like the gods and man things separating, and then like her like accepting like the powers of all this stuff, and she can do all this cool stuff. But then she's like, "No, I'm not here for y'all. I'm here for the humans." And then she drops the wings. You know, it goes back to doing just Ron Lightning with her whip, with lasso. You know what
Hey,
I'm saying?
maybe. I don't know a lot
I
about
mean-
Wonder Woman. I just know that she looks cool and she's doing some badass stuff in the trailer, and looks like it's gonna be a fun summer movie. And
Yeah.
it's kind of funny that they moved it back because it was supposed to come out on the 20th of December this year. But you know what's coming
Dang.
out on the 20th of December this year?
Star
Star
Wars.
Wars. So they were just like,
I'm sorry.
and it-
When did they move back to?
Star
Give
Wars
me-
and
give me
Jumanji
the
2.
date.
Jumanji 2 comes out the same weekend as Star Wars. So people,
Jumanji 2 comes out this weekend.
huh?
Jumanji 2 comes out tomorrow.
Oh, well. In
Or
any
today,
case,
if you're
they
listening
come
on
out within the same 2 weeks.
this. Yeah.
And I think Jumanji 2 is a Sony property, or Jumanji is a Sony property, and then of course Disney is doing the Star Wars. So Warner Brothers, I guess, I don't know if it was more of like I think it's more strategic this way, anyways, because it probably could have contended, to be honest, with both of these movies
Yeah.
and split a lot of the box office. But with this way in the summer, they're gonna clean up
Right.
more.
I mean,
than
you don't
likely.
want to fill the holiday season with too many movies realistically, because people ain't got time for that. People can go see a movie, you try to get your one Christmas movie in, but people ain't gonna be like all through the movie theater through holiday season.
Maybe that's true.
I mean, you're not trying to. Some people will, you know what I'm saying, they'll be out there, but your one super drop movie is Star Wars this year. That's the big drop.
That's
I
true.
mean, I'm pretty sure there's another like all American movie that they do during the Christmas season for some reason.
Yeah.
They'll do that. Fucking, they did some Quentin Tarantino movie, and they did the sniper movie. Guy who's in the armor.
Shooter.
No, the guy who was in the army. He's a sniper, and did the thing. Came back to America.
American
Kyle,
Sniper.
maybe, probably, possibly. They do something. They do
Bradley
those movies.
Cooper,
Negative. Yes, that one.
based off the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one. They did that one at Christmas time too, for some reason. I don't know. What.
It's not a Christmas movie.
Right. I have no idea why they dropped that
movie
movie
was
in
kinda
December,
sad.
but they do those around this time. But none of that. Star Wars is here now. Get the fuck out.
But yeah, Wonder Woman trailer looks cool. Steve Trevor's back for reasons. I mean, it's a comic book movie, so I'm sure they'll have a
Right.
very ridiculous reason as to why he's back.
Right.
But we also get kind of a glimpse at we see who's going to be Chitara or whoever. What's her? Tigra? No, I think her name is like Cheetah. It might just straight up be like Cheetah Girl. But it's basically one of Wonder Woman's
Tigress, maybe.
main villains, and she's in the trailer, and I think it's Kristen Wiig, if I'm not mistaken, who plays her. But I love Kristen Wiig. She's hilarious. I think she's a great actress. So I'm glad that they got her to play this villainous role. I think that's a good choice. So that'll be cool to see her go up against Wonder Woman. But yeah, the trailer looks great. It's coming out next summer, so we got a while. Probably have some more trailers drop. And I just want to let everybody know that I was right. The rumors are right. The trailer did drop like we said it would. and
Right. You said you heard it first.
it popped up online, so that's great. That's awesome. So we did have some other trailers that actually came out that actually kind of surprised me because I wasn't tracking the Ghostbusters trailer,
Right. Neither was I. I was like, I thought it was like for a game or something.
and there were rumors. Yeah, I wanted to say I heard that they were rebooting Ghostbusters, but I thought it was like way down the line. But a trailer dropped this weekend, and it's called Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Which is really interesting. Like, wasn't it just came out like 16 and they're dropping one in like 20? I'm like,
People didn't like it,
close.
so I
I
think
mean,
they were
I'm saying,
ready
like,
to reboot it
still
again.
close. Like, I would expected to see another like Fantastic Four movie, another one after the one people didn't like. But I mean, I'm glad they didn't because
That movie was ass.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we mentioned that last time. This movie's, but I mean,
movie
if
is
you call it a movie, but call it a movie,
terrible.
but yeah. The trailer looks good enough for me to have even a passing interest in wanting to go see the movie.
It had more of like a horror feel to it. Like it was definitely more. Even the way it's shot in the trailer, cut in the trailer, it's not like so jokey.
Right. I mean,
So, and then the thing is, Ghostbusters came out. I don't think, I wasn't around then, but
Right.
I would
Yeah,
assume that when
80s.
people went to go see it, they weren't expecting a straight up comedy, and it turned out to be an action comedy.
I mean, I'm not sure what the other actors had done around that at that point.
They
been
were
known
all
for.
comedic actors, so Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, all of those guys. But the thing is, it's still a movie about ghosts,
Right.
and it's the first one. So, I don't know. I guess it's really about how the trailer was like cut back then.
I mean, even like even like trailer seen back then, but like for a lot of actors, unless you're doing something that's like the trailer shows that it is really, really out of your lane, like even actors we have now, like Ryan Reynolds, you see him in a movie, you're like, okay, this movie's gonna have some level of comedy to it.
Right.
Ryan Reynolds acting and not telling a joke is what is it? What am I watching right now? What is this?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. It'd be a little confusing.
It's like a thing like that.
But I'm excited for it. I like it. They got Finn Wolfhard to be in the movie. He's like in everything that has to do with kids and spooky stuff. So
Like I don't.
he's the go-to.
man.
And he's like,
I mean,
the cool thing is he's just like, I don't think it's annoying at all either that he gets to be Finn Wolfhard in all these movies. It feels like that's the kind of kid he is, like quippy, like in real life.
and he gets a split. Like he gets to do a different version of like from seeing Stranger Things to watching it. Like his character is very different.
Yeah.
Like he gets to be a lot more abrasive in that. And I think like them typecasting you in a type of movie is okay if your character gets to be different.
Right.
And then I think in this, like how he was speaking is like he still has his jokes and he's quippy, yeah, but he's not like as uptight as he is in Stranger Things or as loose as he was in it. So
Yeah,
it's like
somewhere in the
he gets to play like at least show some level of range, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that'll be cool. But yeah, the trailer looks great. I can't even remember if it had a release date. I'm sure it did. Do you remember seeing
I
it
don't remember seeing
sometime next
it.
year?
I mean,
think
we'll mention it again. We'll talk about it at least 2 more times before it comes out.
definitely. And then we had
Got
some
these
Eternals
toys.
footage apparently that dropped.
Eternals
Oh, yeah, what do you want to hit first? I was gonna hit more of the footage first. But
Okay, go ahead.
Eternals is like one of the big Phase 4 Marvel movies that's supposed to be dropping. It's supposed to deal with the Eternals.
Yeah.
And basically like these cosmic beings who created what we know now as like the Marvel Universe.
Right.
So the Deviants were like a race that was kind of like their anti-version or their antagonists essentially, their opposites. And of those Deviants, one of the descendants of the Deviants was Thanos in the comics.
There you go.
So that is kind of how you're going to track back, right? So that's the level we're at, right? Thanos is above them. It would above him, his progenitors, and it'd be the Eternals. So
And I
Galactus
think,
is like one of them at one point. So
Isn't the Grand Masters was an Eternal as well?
no, well maybe I don't know.
Because they did like a thing where they kind of mention like they bring it like the Grand Master's been around for like a really long time. Like he's like 60 something on this planet, but he's been around like because of how time works on the planet. He's been around for a really, really, really long time. So it's like they do like things like that, and then Ego as well. I thought was supposed to be like another being like that, where
Yeah.
they're just
Cosmic level power.
yeah, they've just been sprinkled throughout of having like this crazy amount of juice.
Almost godlike. They're
Yeah.
they're known to create things And I think the way that they're doing it is each of these, it's going to be more of like think of them as like a pantheon. So like a Roman, like, or a Greek god set where it's like you have your god of this and god of that, right?
Yeah.
It'll be similar to that. The Eternals takes place, way, way before the Avengers, way, way before most of the Marvel Universe, and if not all the Marvel Universe, and it's their story. But from what I've heard, it is also going to sprinkle in some stuff that's going to tie into Infinity War and Endgame and all of that stuff and kind of get you prepped for the next phase. I think that this is going to be where the X-Men and the mutant gene is going to get introduced, because in the comic books, a lot of times that's where it comes from. It was a set of Eternals who decided to like, hey, let's do essentially an experiment and mutate some of these genes, and then they'll start kicking off at a certain time in a certain period in time, and then that's where the X-Men come out of. So I think we're going to get an introduction of the X-Men, or even definitely the multiverse. Right. But the X-Men, I think in particular, they'll be their introduction, not them in name, but more so how X-Men are created through the mutant gene and all that stuff. So I'm excited for that. They got all the big name actors and actresses in that. So I think that's going to be cool. But what else was shown? What else did we see?
You said there's the King Kong versus Godzilla. There's some shots from that where they show King Kong a lot bigger.
Yeah, he's supposed to be massive. I mean, big enough to go toe-to-toe with Godzilla.
Right.
So you can
Godzilla's
imagine.
Gigantic.
It's a tall monkey. But I think that'd be cool. Yeah, they only had like 2 shots from what the leaks were. Not leaks. From the reports that they had for Warner Brothers' next monster movie. So I'm excited. I love Godzilla. I love the franchise, and I think they have progressively gotten better. Since the 2014 one. 2014 one I still really like. Doesn't have a lot of Godzilla in it, but the shots that do, like them Halo jumping in, and seeing him like through the clouds, that was sick.
It's wild. It's a nice shot.
Yeah, and then you get him doing the atomic breath in one of the Muto's mouth. That's cool. And then in this last movie, he's like, you can see them fighting, like pretty much like clear as day. See him and Ghidorah fighting. So like, I'm really hyped for the next movie, King Kong vs. Godzilla. I'm sure it'll be like Batman v Superman, in the fact that like they'll be fighting and then they'll have to fight something else. And then hopefully it's not as bad as Batman v Superman, but I doubt it. Like
some respect is gained. That and maybe it could be Mecha King Ghidorah. I mean, if you're looking at the
if it's Mecha King Ghidorah, I'll be so hyped, dude.
Yeah.
I think it'll be more Mecha Godzilla. I know it's a weird thing, but like if you watch any of the Godzilla movies, you know that like at one point humanity tries to like get the one up on Godzilla, and they're like, nah, we need one we can control for real.
Yeah.
And so they end up building like essentially a replica Godzilla, but it's a robot version, and then it gets sentient because it's built with an AI.
Yeah.
And it goes ham on humanity. So I think that'll be cool to see him fight against Godzilla and King Kong.
I think I've already worked this out. We got your Mecha King Ghidorah in this movie.
Okay.
King Ghidorah kills Godzilla. Okay. And that's what they do. They make Mecha Godzilla from Godzilla's bones.
Yeah, that's always how it's been.
Yeah. And then
from his DNA or whatever.
Basically, you have Mecha Godzilla come back and do whatever he's doing. He kills King Kong, and then Godzilla 2 shows up, and he's like even bigger. He's a monster, and
I can't even imagine how big he'd have to be. Maybe he's bigger than the one that they have now.
Steps on Mecha Godzilla. You don't care.
Yeah, sure. I'm down for it. I mean, I think they should get more and more ridiculous. It's a monster. Right. It's a freaking movie about giant monsters. Like, let it be ridiculous. Lean into that.
Lean into it, please.
We also had some Black Widow footage, some additional footage shown that was like kind of like an extended trailer, and it just shows basically Yelena, Rachel Weisz's character, who plays like the matriarch of like the family, I guess you could call them, her relationship with the Red Guardian and how they're kind of involved and attached.
Yeah.
So I guess it gives you more insight on the mother-father, quote-unquote mother-father dynamic between those two. And it also has kind of a throwaway line about Red Guardian asking Natasha about Captain America because he's his Russian geopolitical adversary or whatever they want to call it. Right. So it's kind of cool that he gets that when he's just like, oh, because this movie takes place between Civil War and Infinity War, from what everybody's been saying. So that means Winter Soldier happened, and that's kind of when you get Black Widow and Steve Rogers' relationship solidifying.
Right.
So she's running around the globe with him for like through 2 or 3 movies up until this point. So it makes sense for him to be like, man, you've been doing a lot of missions with Captain America. What's he like, you know? So I think that's kind of cool, and it'll be kind of cute, if you want to say that, to see those interactions. But I wouldn't put it past this movie to have a lot of cameos in it. And I know it's like a Marvel movie, so it's kind of par for the course. But those toys, though, man.
Right. I think even the toys from that, for a lot of, I don't know if you mentioned this before, but I know like Taskmaster is just a mercenary.
Right.
Very, very rarely is he pushing his own goals. So he's like, you can work for who knows realistically. Like you see him, he's just here as an adversary fighting you in the field.
Right,
How
right.
often is that like you're a final guy other than really when you're fighting Thanos? Like Thanos has hordes of people out here to fight the rabble.
Right.
So, I mean, that's Thanos level, but I mean, like, other people are, like, not generally, if you have enough, if you're a bad guy enough to, like, you need 4 other people to fight you, realistically, but you're not regular Avengers level threat, you have lackeys.
You're right.
And you see plenty of lackeys, and even at that, you want somebody who can handle this super powered or hyper trained individual on the other side. Send Taskmaster after him.
Yeah, I think well the toys. The reason I mentioned toys earlier is because obviously there's toys that have been released for the Black Widow movie that's coming out, and it has like the designs or what would be close to what the designs would look like in the movie.
Right.
A lot of times the toys are, you know, it's creative license there. You want to make the toys a little bit more different, so
Right.
when kids are playing with them, it's different. But a lot of times as well, they kind of line up to what comes out in the movie, so it's kind of a preview of what you get for character designs. So you have like the White Widow suit. They have her sister as like an action figure toy, what have you. And then they also have a Winter Soldier toy, which I thought was interesting.
That was boxed for, like, the movie?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it comes with I think one of them, they all come with like a piece of Crimson Dynamo.
Even the Winter Soldier being here wouldn't be.
It lines up well, even because if it's after Civil War, Bucky is still running around. He's not necessarily doing, and he would be he wouldn't be running around
because he lost his arm.
He lost his arm. I don't know.
And then get another arm until Infinity War.
It depends because this movie has flashbacks, so
Okay.
he could be running around, or they could show him in flashbacks. I think it'll be more of like either a flashback, maybe they won't show him at all, but it'll definitely be like in a name, like somebody's like, oh, they have that KGB dude who's running around icing people.
You could have. I could definitely see that, like a flashback to like the Red Guardian fighting him or something like that, something like interacting with him or doing some other ops.
Yeah,
that
he's
like
like they called me in for something, but some dude ran through and like destroyed everybody already.
Right.
So we're just the cleanup crew.
Like I said, because it's really during this time he doesn't have an arm.
Right. But he has a toy. There's also Spy Master, who is an Iron Man mainstay villain.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see if he's in this movie. And he's just kind of like an espionage. I mean, his name is Spy Master, but he uses technology like Iron Man does, but he uses it for espionage, and he also steals like industrial secrets and things like that.
I got you.
So it makes sense as why he's an Iron Man villain. But he has a toy, so maybe he'll be in the movie. It is about spies, so it's kind of on brand. And then also each toy, like the Red Guardian and all of them, a lot of them came out with, I think like 5 of them came out with a piece of what is known as Crimson Dynamo.
Yeah.
And you combine all those toys together, or all those pieces, and you get the full-on Crimson Dynamo, who is another Iron Man villain. He's a Russian version of Iron Man, who we probably won't get because we got Ironmonger in the first Iron Man movie. But it'd be kind of cool if they had like a throwaway to him too. It's like, oh yeah, we're also trying to build like a replica or an Iron Man suit to compete, but we don't have anything. Plus, it wouldn't make sense depending on the time frame if they're building it. Like if this is during Civil War, it's kind of too late. But if it's in a flashback, like we have one, or they show like a leg or an arm or something hung up.
Something they were working on. And I mean, still like even during this time, Tony is known as the Earth's best defender.
Right.
Like,
and
so
he works with America, quote unquote.
Yeah, so that's still the pinnacle that the peak that you're trying to get to is Tony. So I mean, you build your Captain America equivalent. But then you're like, okay, this is superseded by Tony Stark now. Tony's now the guy.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
then like you start working on trying to get to that point. I mean, the energy source basically is just the thing people haven't been able to work out yet, other than that one guy just able to just whip it up and with his dad's things. I wonder, did they do a resolution to that? Like, oh hey, yeah,
The guy with the bird.
yeah, Whiplash.
Yeah.
From Iron Man 2. They do like a resolution to that, like, oh yeah, my dad kind of did say your dad's designer. Like nothing, man.
I want. So that guy, he doesn't die, right? They don't kill
Oh,
him.
no, they don't kill him. Yeah.
So I think there was after credits where he gets recruited by Mandarin or something,
Interesting.
which is Ten Rings, but the real one, the real Ten Ring. I really wanted to see the real Ten Rings Mandarin, but we never got it.
Right.
But that's fine too.
mean,
There's
that
a
could
side
be
of the Marvel
interesting, too.
universe that they're not bringing in. That's like Mandarin is almost on that level where it's too much. Doctor Strange is introducing some of that stuff,
Right.
but Iron Man has some weird ass villains. Like if you go back in his comics, there's a character named Fing Fang Foom.
Yes.
He's a fucking dragon, and he's like a talking. He's like Smaug from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
He talks. He's got like nefarious plots. Like he has like world domination plots. He's a dragon, like, and he's an Iron Man villain. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like why?
Said,
Why is he not like a
on a
Doctor
flying-
Strange
we're on a flying
villain
island, I have a
or
bow and arrow.
a Thor villain? He's
none of this makes sense.
he's a villain for a dude whose whole gimmick is I build like multi-billion-dollar suits.
I'm all built suits.
So-
suit guy.
But yeah, I'm excited for the Black Widow movie.
Definitely.
We'll give you guys more news as it comes out for that. So
For sure. And then sliding back a step, do you have a date for Wonder Woman? Do you know?
yeah, it's May 2020, May something. It's
okay.
summer.
Okay, so yeah, they are going to be. It's going to be the Summer of Women.
Yeah, because it'll be Black Widow and then it'll
And-
be this movie.
Yeah,
So
it'll be interesting. I wonder if the movie's going to be better. So this is like the
I mean
true
that'll be the discussion, but
Right.
I think to be honest, it'll probably be Wonder Woman. I'm more interested in Black Widow
Yeah.
because that's more of my speed. And so I've heard a little bit about Wonder Woman already. Please, if you're Googling it online, try to stay away from spoilers. They are out there. From what I've heard, the whole plot leaked online.
Mm.
And of course it could be fake, but
Right.
the way this thing was worded, I read it, I fell for it, and the way it's worded, it sounds like it's pretty much what the movie is going to be. I mean, it goes act by act. This thing is in depth.
Yikes.
So I would stay away from it. Just don't spoil yourself. But I think Wonder Woman's going to end up being the more watched movie.
Yeah.
But I think I will like Black Widow more because I'm more attached to that universe at this point.
Definitely interested to see. When does Birds of Prey come out?
So that I don't know. I think it's next year as well because trailers have come out for it already.
Yeah. So I wonder if that's going to drop next summer too.
I don't think it'll be summer. I think it'll be later. Next year will be like the year of like comic
That'd
book
be
women.
interesting for it to be later, considering Wonder Woman trailer came out after.
Yeah, but it's a DC property too. You don't want to be like May DC movie and then June Marvel does that, but I don't. DC hasn't done that.
Big boss can do that.
When
And
you're
that's what I'm
that
saying.
level,
But you're hyping up Birds of Prey like as and people love, like Margot Robbie. Basically, you're just attached. You watch
People
you
love
play
Harley-
Suicide
Margot
Squad, which is,
Robbie,
like,
Harley Quinn.
not good movie.
yeah,
And Margot Robbie just stands out in this, and then you just leap on that.
yeah.
So I'm like, you're putting that forward. So I mean, like you'd put that prime time realistically, unless it's like, because when would you put it? It would be like either like March,
Fall.
April, or
Fall.
Movies don't come out in fall.
Yeah,
Not
fall.
really.
Fall.
Not action movies from like the
No.
companies.
It'd be
You
fall.
do winter. Like
No,
they've done.
maybe it's the winter.
Shazam came out early this year, like March, May.
Yeah, but that's because
Timeframe.
of all the other crap that came out this
I
year.
mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking like that maybe then, and then Wonder Woman summer.
I don't know, man. I feel like Wonder Woman's a bigger property.
next-
Birds of Prey,
next
people
winter
don't
is-
really know what Birds of Prey is because the title is called Birds of Prey. People are confused. Harley
still
Quinn
so-
is not a bird.
They're still selling it on Margot Robbie.
Like Birds of Prey was always supposed to be the more bird-themed, flying type female characters of DC,
Yes,
like
Release
Batwoman,
in February.
Batgirl.
February 7th.
Okay, Huntress. Is it Black Canary?
No,
February.
No, so February 7th.
Well, okay.
There you
It's
go.
not. I mean, I guess like you said, it'll prime you for
Yeah.
Wonder Woman.
I mean, Prime for Wonder Woman, and like it's coming around with like nothing else is coming out, so I can see that. And speaking of Birds of Prey,
Yeah.
we got this. We got
There was a trailer that dropped at CCXP. It was CCXP, for those who don't know, is the Brazilian Comic Con essentially.
Yeah.
Like it's a comic expo. So they showed off a bunch of trailers. It was this past weekend, which is why a lot of these trailers are coming out online now, and a lot of this news is coming out now. So it's more of a heavy news week, to be honest.
Yeah.
But they showed some stuff from the trailer.
That's right. The comic accurate Black Mask, which
I think
that's
that's
another thing.
great.
It's Ian McGregor's character.
Yeah.
In the movie, being comic accurate because they just had Ian McGregor just walking around as like Black Mask. I'm like, look at image of Black Mask, and then you look at Ian McGregor, you just like, one of these things is not like the other.
Yeah. What's his name? Mark Sionis or something Sionis. That's the guy's actual name.
But I've seen like the character in some other thing, whether it's a game, show, whatever. But yeah, I know he was just a guy. Especially
He's a mafia dude. He's just a mafia boss, and he wears the mask. Initially, it was like an intimidation thing, but then something happened to where it gets fused to his face, or something happens. It's like to hide something. I want to say it started off as a fear thing, and then he like used it because he got scarred, and then it got fused to his face, and his face looks like that.
So from what I was seeing, like in the comics and some other like pictures, it's like, yeah, his head is like a skull. Like that's just what it is.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a mask. It's just fused to his face, and it's shaped his face in that way too because it's been fused, either burned on or what have you. But yeah, he's in
another
the
Joker origin story, the Black Mask. Yeah,
he's in there. Dinah, I forget her last name. The character who's Black Canary.
Oh goodness.
Dinah something.
Oh goodness! As much arrows I've seen.
It's Dinah Queen at this point. It doesn't matter because she ends up marrying Oliver. But
oh man,
Dinah Dash. It doesn't matter what her name is.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
It doesn't matter. So it's Black Canary. She does her canary cry in the trailer, and they also show Harley blowing up Ace Chemicals, breaking up with the Joker, and with her are her two hyenas, who she is named Bruce and Wayne, which begs the question, does she know who the hell Batman is, or did she just be like, oh, Bruce Wayne is super handsome and rich, let me name my hyenas
Bruce
that.
Wayne is Gotham, like,
yeah,
realistically.
You think it's like that, though? Like, she's like,
I think
Wayne,
it's like that.
I think it's more of like a tongue-in-cheek, like, maybe she doesn't know, but it's to remind you that this is like a Batman character.
Right. I mean, I don't think she knows, and that's why she named the dogs that. I think she named them that because Bruce Wayne is such like a prominent feature in whatever, and like, or whatever they're doing. 9 times out of 10, they're stealing some Wayne tech, or stealing, robbing some Wayne facility. It's like it's always
That's true.
what's going on.
The bank,
so,
or
like,
whatever.
Bruce and Wayne tear you apart. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. It's part of the joke.
That's true. And I mean, as far as CCXP goes, that was most of the CCXP news. We do have some other like smaller bits of news here and there, but CCXP, I'm sure there'll be more stuff that'll come out the next few weeks just that came out of CCXP. But until then, you guys can just keep it here for that. But we did have some other stuff. So just sticking with the DC kind of news, we had some information on the Crisis on Infinite Earths, the big DC TV crossover event that they're doing.
Like 5 shows crossing over.
Something like that. It's pretty big, to be honest. I don't watch any of those shows. Right. I watched Arrow and I watched Flash for a bit. And I stopped.
I've seen
all of Smallville. I'll say that.
Legends of Tomorrow.
Okay.
Of like the shows that are running now, I've seen not anything
like Black Lightning has been out, and
yeah. So I think like all the I think the shows that are crossing over the 5 are supposed to be
Supergirl,
Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, Batwoman, and Black Lightning. Other shows that are crossing over. I don't think Legends of Tomorrow is like going to cross over.
No.
And they can't. Realistically, because they have
the way it works,
the character Brandon Routh who is
He plays a different character.
Yeah, he plays a different character in this show. So he used Brandon Routh was Superman and Superman Returns, and that he's coming back as Golden Age Superman in the Crisis on Infinite Earths TV special. So if you do a double crossover, he'll just have him looking at himself. So you just leave them out.
They did have the Smallville Tom Welling show up with Erica Durant who plays Lois Lane from the Smallville series, and that was kind of cool.
They didn't have the other chick because she was in other stuff. The chick from Smallville,
Kristen Kruk, she plays Lana.
Yeah, I think she was in reality into some other stuff. Like they had.
Her and Chloe were in it. They were a part of some weird cult.
Yeah,
some
weird
sex cult
in reality time. So it was like. No,
but they got out of it. But yeah, they were they were in there for the actresses were in this weird cult for a while. Yeah. But yeah, so Smallville Superman shows up, but he's not he gave up his powers to be a regular family, which is cool. But I don't like the Lex Luthor in the crossover event. He's like this. I thought it was Mr. Mixelplix or
Mixelpidalic.
Yeah, because he's short. He's super tiny. He's bald head. So I was like, I guess, but he's got this big spell book. So I was like, oh, and then he's like, I'm Lex Luthor.
They didn't get. I forget.
No, they couldn't. Michael Rosenbaum wanted to come back.
Yeah.
But then he didn't want to come back. Something fell through with discussions, but basically
I know he voices the Flash in most things.
Yeah.
Now, which is really interesting.
He was a great Lex Luthor, and he's a great Flash voice actor. Yeah. But yeah, he for whatever reason it might have been scheduling or contract conflict. Yeah, but he couldn't come back. But they got this other guy, and he's not Smallville's version of Lex Luthor. He's whoever else's. I think it's the Superman from the Supergirl show.
Oh, okay. It's
their Lex Luthor, and he's this short, bald bastard. And he looks like David Spade. I don't like him. He's so annoying. He is not scary. I feel like Lex Luthor.
Not intimidating.
From the Justice League show and everything, he's kind of beefy, right? Because he's supposed to be the pinnacle of humanity.
Right.
And then Superman shows up. Right. This dude is just Mr. Mixelpidalic. Right. That's who I thought it was. And in any case, he's like the Lex Luthor running around. But there was something. What was it? I'm sorry. I'm referring back to my notes now. Oh yeah. So some news came out where the director for this big TV event wanted to reach out. Well, he did reach out to Nicolas Cage because he wanted him to play a Superman that they were going to grab from an alternate universe. And people wanted it so bad. When they found out, people were like, "Oh my god, I hope." And they were like, "No, he couldn't do it." But that, you know how amazing that would have been for him to show up, and people were like, "It's real, it happened."
It kind of is real, and it kind of did happen. They did it in the Teen Titans Go movie.
Mm-hmm.
He voices Superman in that.
Right.
So it's he did it.
Yeah.
He did it.
He's not afraid to do comic stuff. He was Spider-Man Noir. So
yeah. But I'm just saying he was able to do it. I mean he was gonna be Superman in a movie, but it just fell through.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
The original Justice League. Back in the 90s.
It was early.
He had a mullet and everything.
Yeah, it's gonna be super. Nicolas Cage is Superman. I want to live in that universe where that
movie happened.
Or Nicolas Cage Superman movie happened.
Yeah.
And came out to theaters.
But that's kind of cool that they reached out, even though he wasn't able to. I think that's still pretty neat, and I appreciate the director going as far as to do that.
Do you have any Batman in any of this?
So yeah, the cool thing is that they got Kevin Conroy. To play old Batman.
Nice.
When Batwoman starts doing, because they're all doing multiverse hopping right now.
Right.
To grab heroes that can help, and she goes to a universe that Bruce is old man Bruce, and it's Kevin Conroy, and I was like, that's genius because everybody knows his voice.
He's the voice.
For people to know, he's the voice of Batman from the animated series and everything else.
Right.
He is the definitive Batman voice.
Right.
When you hear Batman, you think this guy's voice. So they got him to play old Bruce Wayne, where Batwoman goes in "Hello, Bruce," and it's kind of a cool nod. And that he still gets to play Batman, even though he's an old dude.
Yeah.
So in real life, so it's kind of cool.
Oh, they pick up. They're probably you go see a universe as old man Bruce, and you think they pick up Terry, unless you're doing.
You would think, but
unless you're doing the Batman v Superman comic thing where there's no Terry, there's just old Batman in the suit fighting Superman.
Yeah, there's a
Really.
few versions of old Batman. I
Yeah.
prefer the Batman Beyond one, but
Yeah.
I haven't watched the show, so I've watched clips online and people like it, so that's cool
I
though.
might have to check once the event's like over. I might have to check it out.
Yeah,
I can see like the episode just so I can see all the characters that they bring in.
yeah, they have two Superman for some reason. It's very confusing.
Grand total of 3. Realistic should be.
Right.
Should be Smallville, the Brandon Routh, and the Supergirl Superman.
Yeah. Well, Smallville, he doesn't go with them. He's just like, I gave my powers up, so I'm not useful.
Oh,
to you
that
guys."
just
Yeah.
I'm just here for the check.
Yeah, essentially. But there was that, and then there was Kingdom Hearts. So I am a big Kingdom Hearts fan, so I put this in here. But there was Kingdom Hearts DLC trailer that dropped, and I was one who waited. So I've been the biggest fan of Kingdom Hearts for I still am, and I was so disappointed when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out at the beginning of this year. It broke my heart because of the way the game story fell out. The story of Kingdom Hearts is whack anyways.
Ridiculous.
But I was a kid growing up playing those games, so I have super nostalgia for these games. And then playing the game, the gameplay is decent. There was some stuff in the story that I was like, why is this happening? And the way it ends is actually pretty poignant, in my opinion. I think it's sad. I think it's a good ending. I think people got upset with the ending.
Salt Boy Hours.
Yeah, but I think it's the most mature ending they could have had with these characters.
Right.
It's not necessarily the most happy ending, and I think that's what bugged people.
Right.
But there was DLC planned, so I mean, I kind of hate that, but it is what it is.
It's not over.
Right. It is what it is. So the DLC is going to explain more, and I'm sure there's going to be more DLC that comes out, which kind of makes me even more mad.
Mass Effect 3 all over again.
Yeah, but to be honest, I mean, I'm back in. Anytime Kingdom Hearts drops a trailer, whoever cuts their trailers, fucking mint, dude. It's awesome. I love it. So I'm back in. As much as I was ranting about it at the beginning of the year, I was like, I can't believe they would do this. I waited 15 years for this. And I bought the game, and I bought the collector's edition, and yada, yada, yada. I gave all these people my money and got mad at them.
Right.
They forced me. And now I'm going to buy the DLC.
Son of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah. And then there was one other last little bit of...
Said in the Disney Plus show, The Mandalorian.
Hell yeah, dude.
He ends up sliding up to the planet Tatooine. Back, boys. And this is Tatooine... Realistically, the first time we've been back to Tatooine since episode 4.
Yeah.
When Luke leaves, bam, he's just like that. I mean, it doesn't go into the geopolitics of what's going on in Tatooine. I mean, no one really cares or goes
if there's even any
yeah
politics happening on Tatooine.
goes into who's running the
Backwater
planet, whatever.
planet.
It's still just Tatooine doing Tatooine stuff.
Yeah.
There were there. Yeah, the helmets on spikes of the Imperials.
Yeah.
I guess who used to run through that. I guess you do remember that from what's the name? The Imperials used to be here checking people and all that type of stuff. But there are
Looking
no
for
Imperials,
droids.
no Imperials around.
Yeah.
Doing their thing. And the Tusken Raiders, they had a full on. This was a relative nostalgia trip episode. Hey guys, remember Star Wars?
Yeah. You know what was a bigger thing? I think a lot of people when they first started watching it were like, "Oh, Tatooine." People immediately started thinking Boba Fett. Because he dies on Tatooine.
Yeah.
So people are, and the Hutts don't exist anymore, essentially. They've been wiped out.
Right.
But people are like, Boba Fett, is he going to pop up? I mean, look, Boba Fett's dead, all right?
Right.
Unfortunately, he didn't crawl out that Sarlacc pit.
Fucking dead.
He's
he
dead.
died.
People want him to be like, no, he survived the Sarlacc pit.
Bro.
Nothing survives the Sarlacc pit.
All right. Two, I'm not sure if his armor was Beskar. Even
No.
the armor what's name has. I'm not even sure if his armor was that. 1, 2.
He wasn't a true Mandalorian,
he didn't. Or he wasn't a true Mandalorian with the family.
Right.
There's differences in levels of being a Mandalorian. You're a Mandalorian when you're with the Mandalorians. When you're not, you're just a guy.
Yeah.
Realistically,
With Mandalorian armor. Yeah.
That's just, you're just some guy in the armor. You're not a part of the family. You're just some bounty hunter. Realistically,
He was Boba Fett, not
Right.
necessarily a Mandalorian.
Yeah. Not of Clan Fett or anything like that. Just you.
Yeah,
the
you're
guy.
right. He wasn't even of Clan Fett.
Yeah.
So the last
Yeah.
one would have been Django.
Yeah.
So.
So he was just a guy, realistically. So and for those of you, I mean, I guess you watch Clone Wars, you see him do a little more.
Mm-hmm.
But if you watch from the movies or the original trilogy, he doesn't do much. He stands around. He catches Han Solo, I guess. I mean, he doesn't do much.
That's true. He does catch him, and then he catches a a staff to
Starlight.
the back of a rocket,
Right,
to
right.
jetpack and
Jetpack. and
Wilhelm
Starlight.
screams
You
into
don't
the
do much.
Starlight pit.
And I think I'm not sure if that was a thing me and you talked about, or me and my friend talked about. But like it's something me and another friend talked about. This is sliding out of the news. I think that was the last bit of news we had. But this will lead into our main talks. This today is going to be like the Star Wars, and this slides into the Star Wars talk before we start getting into what we're going to do. Predictions for Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
But this, I guess, the thing like of different, like how they have characters now. Like me and my friend are talking about. Okay, I know what we're talking about now. We're talking about the Battlefront 2, the new games EA made.
Yeah.
Like how the characters are and how like few characters there are in the sequel trilogy. As opposed to the original trilogy, when you like think about characters that exist, even whether or not they do anything, because there are a lot of characters that show up in the original trilogy that don't do anything, but they're characters and they're memorable enough to get names.
Are you talking about like Bosk or like IG-88?
Bosk, IG-88, Dengar, like other
Dengar,
like we
yeah.
have like the bounty hunters just show up in this room and like people are like, oh hey, blah blah blah, these characters exist, they're in games and stuff. But
The
then you
Huts,
Yeah.
even his like assistant dude.
yeah. Who's that? That's Bib Fortuna. Like
Yeah.
So it's like all of these
The
characters.
dude, who's the dude, the elephant dude who plays the bongos in the cantina?
Oh, I don't
he has a big name and a following as well.
Yeah.
The Cantina band essentially has a following. Everybody in that band, but it's a
And
dude
that's
that
all
plays
we're
the
gonna do.
plays the
Because they got money.
bongos. I mean,
Yeah,
even
that's-
hell, Greedo, and like
Right.
Greedo dies in the
Greedo dies.
first like,
Greedo's on the screen
5 minutes.
for a solid 30 seconds and dies, but
People
man,
know him.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Like you look at the sequel, and you look at the prequel trilogy. There are tons of characters. There are wars going on. They have a lot of characters, a lot of things
Yeah,
going on,
that's
like
true.
stuff like that. There's a lot of characters, but in the sequel trilogy, there aren't that many characters. Realistically,
No.
there aren't. I mean, you have other people you're playing off of, I guess. But when I guess we were specifically talking about like characters you would put into Battlefront, like a game with characters that are doing stuff. You're on shooting, whether they're a pilot in a starfighter or just some command, like some hero in the game. Like most of them doesn't have those people. Either it don't have the people or they're not using them effectively. There's no Poe Dameron character running around. Rose was a mechanic. She's not a soldier to be fighting on anyone's front lines or anything like that.
Maz Kanata or
And Maz Kanata's like this little person. She just runs her cantina on that.
that would have been a
she's not-
place to have a bunch of characters too. Would have been in that
Yeah.
cantina.
Like a bunch of things you show up and then basically you give these characters names and then they're here because really the original trilogy has those characters in this room not doing anything. But
Did they even
man,
get introduced?
I don't. Think
How
so.
do they get the names? It's
I
just
don't even-
expanded.
I don't even think a lot of them
expanded
get their
universe.
names from like either
Because
from
nobody says Bosk.
right. No one says Dengar. no one introduces these characters.
Right.
So it's like
The only thing we get is no disintegrations.
Right, that's it.
That's it.
They spoke to Vader, and that was enough. That was enough clout to fly them like for decades
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that. And the Secret Trilogy doesn't have that in side characters. Realistically, I guess whether things got thrown off the rails, and you would have introduced like the Knights of Ren in the second movie, and they would have had names, and you could have had all these characters running around doing stuff, but that ain't what we got. What I got was Rose Tico and Holdar. Holden,
Who are you talking about?
the general, the pink hair, purple hair chick, the new
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Holden.
Holden.
Holden, hold on.
One
Whatever
of
the
those.
whatever the lady name was. And while we're here, while we're speaking about this character,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't like that character for whatever.
Dude, Poe is
Bro.
the one that's wrong in that situation.
Poe is
a
the
mutinous
one
piece
that-
of shit, dude.
Right, he is the one that's wrong in that scenario.
He's a dum dum.
If you watch the movie and the sequence of events that happen, you're like the way the movie is shot, the way the first movie is shot, you're Finn. You're Finn in what's going on.
Yeah. That's your character.
Like,
to
yeah,
latch
that's the
onto.
character you are portraying in this movie.
Yeah.
You're Finn in the first movie, so he's like crashing on the planet. He doesn't know what's going on. He gets to hold the lightsaber, fly on the ship. He gets to experience all the fun stuff.
He's
running
the
around with
audience,
Han.
yeah.
It's great. He's having the time of his life, realistically, and fighting the Empire and all that, or First Order and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
In the second movie, you're Poe, but you're Poe because you don't have a lot of information, but you're still trying to be the hero and stuff like that. And so when she's telling him the plan, you feel like she's not telling you the plan. So it's like a direct thing for you. But if you watch the movie, at the beginning, Poe's styling. He's you styling, telling jokes. Like, he's great.
Oh, that's
right.
right.
They endear you to him real
General
quick.
hugs,
and then he gets like all of their bombers destroyed. Like,
he gets
like,
hella people killed.
Yeah, he does like he tells some jokes and stuff. He's good at first, and then a bunch of people die, and then they lose a bunch of ships. And Leia's like, no, you can't. Like, I understand you want to fight, but we don't have the resources for this. They're crushing us with resources. We just don't have it. So chill out. And so she busts him down in rank. He was her second, effectively, and she busted him down. So you've been demoted now. So now we have a new leader. A new leader doesn't have to tell you the plan because you're not second anymore. You were used to being second until like 5 minutes ago when you just got demoted from second.
Right.
So she had to tell him garbage. Nothing.
That's
you
true.
You fall in line, you do your job, you can get your spot at second back, then you know the plan. But no, that's not what he did. And then, once he did know what the plan was, after this entire movie, the first thing this man does
Tell the bad
is
guy.
transmit his plan over
Unencrypted.
unsecure communications, and then the enemy knows what the plan is. I don't, like, you can't make it any more black and white in movie than that. And people are salty at this lady. I'm like, what happens? Look at the events in a vacuum. And you would be like, oh my, without your emotions there, or you're caring what this lady's hair looks like or anything, look at these events in a vacuum, and you'd be like, what? How could you possibly? But yeah, that was Poe. But Poe got a redemption arc though. Like, but they did that so Poe would have his redemption arc. He come to understand the value of not just each individual military victory, like needing to get a victory or whatever in each fight, like understanding that your resources are your people and you need to like be better with your stuff. And so at the end, Leia's like, "Don't listen to me, listen to him." He learns his lesson that he needed to learn about like resources and your people are what's important. Even after flying out there to go take out the giant cannon and stuff, it's like, yeah, the cannon's gonna fire. It fired, whatever. You still got away. Like it's you need to understand. Once he understood, like, man, she had no problem deferring to him. It was a lesson he needed to learn.
Right.
Like, and he messed up all the way until he was flying out toward the thing, and then you decided to do something else. He was off the rails. I mean, and realistically, the parts of the movie you didn't like about even like them spending that time on that like casino planet, that was his plan. So he did that. Poe did that. Poe did that too.
Thanks a lot, Poe, because I hate
all the parts of the movie you didn't like. All of it was him.
That's the worst part of the movie.
So yeah, Poe did all the parts of the movie you didn't like.
They fit a whole another movie in my movie.
Right. That really throws the timetable off. Like the movie itself, like I like the things that the movie did for the Star Wars universe. Would I think the movie was good? Not particularly. I like what it did for the Star Wars universe. I don't like the movie particularly. But I don't like any of the movies realistically. But understand like that, just like that, it's like, yeah, it's bad. There's good and bad of what's all going on.
I don't care what you say either. You can weaponize freaking, what's it called, when they do the jump.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. You can, but realistically, you will be seen as terrorists.
You shouldn't be doing it, but
yeah, you will be. I mean, people did it to us. They threw planes at buildings. We
Right.
don't like those people.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
you can
that's
do
why,
that,
that's,
but
that's why when people are like,
but
they're like,
it's
if that's a thing, then you could just do it. I was like, you can just put a drone in there and start like, dude, you still gotta get a whole ship that you're just losing,
Right.
that you're building up and then you're losing.
like, especially when you're like, oh, hey, ball, you can do that with
So-
ship. But I'm like, you put Poe in a ship and then put him versus however many fighters you want, and he's gonna kill all of them. So it's like, yeah.
So I
it's more
had the
valuable.
argument with someone recently about the fact that you would just be able to do that to the Death Star with a bunch of X-Wings. I'm like, dude, you know how many X-Wings exploded into the Death Star while that
During that
scene
battle?
happens where Vader's like icing them and they're exploding into it and it doesn't do anything because you have to get to the core.
Right.
That's why I'm like, you can't take an X-Wing, jump it, like whatever they call it, hyperdrive it
Yeah.
through the Death Star. That's not.
Only the reason
It's a whole freaking planet-sized,
Holdo is that
moon-sized.
lady's name. I just Holdo is her name.
Hold
And the only
up.
reason her ship did anything to the other ship was because her ship was gigantic.
Right.
It was one of their capital ship.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
threw the biggest ship she had at them and didn't stop them.
Right. She stopped to one ship.
Right, and she hurt.
And
she
it
hurt a few
sliced
more.
it like butter.
She hurts a few more, but that ship was still flight capable.
Yeah,
she
that's
threw
true.
the biggest ship they had.
Right.
And it nothing.
Yeah.
Like realistically, you can do that, but its effectiveness is minimum.
Right.
At best.
So to ice that argument, no, you couldn't drone a giant capitalist huge ship into a Death Star and then moot the whole fact that a Death Star exists. That's not how the Star Wars universe has built that.
Yeah.
That scene was just to show you that it was a last ditch effort and it was
Really?
trying to give her the whole like hero's death thing. And that
and-
was a Poe like lesson essentially that he
Right.
had to learn. For her to kill herself, he had to be like, "Oh damn, like
Because Poe was willing to sacrifice a lot, but not himself. He sacrificed all them bombers. He flew out there by himself, but he knew they couldn't hit him.
And he was like, "You wouldn't make the ultimate. You know, you're not."
Right.
He kept pointing at her. It's just like, "You're not gonna make the. You're a coward." Blah blah blah. And then she had to be like, "Well, thanks a lot. Now you put me in a position where I have to do this.
Right.
I wasn't planning on killing myself, but now I got to."
That and even throughout the original trilogy of Star Wars, they're the rebels. They've never had just tons and tons of resources to
Right.
just be throwing ships away. They're salvaging ships, so they have ships to fly, to bring resources to people, to do whatever. They're not just out here throwing ships at at this unstoppable machine of the Empire
Right.
just because. Because they understand the fighting, guerrilla warfare, fighting how you need to fight. They're fighting them in Episode 6 on a planet with sticks and stuff. Trees. It's like,
I love the watching two big giant tree trunks smashing into an AT-AT or ATST just.
yeah, they're using trees to fight. They don't have the resources to be throwing ships at people.
Man, these movies are
Like-
stupid.
Like-
A bunch of teddy bears took down the entire empire.
yeah, so the movies is wild, but yeah, people ain't got the resources for that. That and you be considered terrorists. for
The
doing
greatest
this anyway.
Jedi mind in the galaxy was a Muppet.
It's a
who
Muppet.
who was like and like poking at R2 and like
Seagulls?
being crazy, eating stuff that wasn't food in his backpack. Yo, I love old Yoda, like Muppet
old-
Yoda.
To old-
One of my favorite
people
characters.
love old Yoda and people love Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda is the greatest.
Baby Yoda's taking over the world, dude.
Baby Yoda is
Baby
like,
Yoda will unite us all.
Baby Yoda is it's baby. You gotta.
Yeah.
I'm baby. Like Baby Yoda's I'm baby.
I am a baby, and that was like the end of the
Star Wars
was the Last Jedi.
Last Jedi rant.
Oh yeah, and if you did know, the Last Jedi was supposed to be Leia. I don't know if any of y'all knew
She's
that, but that's what it was
the
supposed to be.
penultimate.
The movie was named that because of Leia. Leia was supposed to be the Last Jedi because Luke was like supposed to just not be, and then I guess we're getting to that in this movie. This is leans over to the next. You see, like smoke. Does the air look smoky to you?
No.
Maybe I'm just high. All right. I mean, I don't smell nothing. Kind of looks foggy. I don't know. Maybe it's me. This light normally isn't on, so who knows, realistically.
No.
But I'll just make sure we ain't about to burn up in this bitch.
I hope I smell it first.
Right. I'm just looking out. But really, Leia, I think it's shown in the they show in this movie at point like Leia holding a lightsaber. She's supposed to be the one who trains Rey. Because Leia has juice too.
Leia has juice, but it still would be stupid for her to train Rey. I don't care.
What do you mean?
Like I was okay with Leia doing the Force stuff that she did in the Last Jedi. I was like, whatever. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I mean, it's dumb, but I didn't care because it's Star Wars, but it's space wizards.
There is another.
But if she trained, if she had trained Rey in lightsaber combat, that's when I'd be like, what? Like, I mean, I get it. It's been a while. It's been 30 years.
You train her in use of the Force. The Force isn't just lifting rocks and swinging your laser sword. Like it's not. That's not what it is.
Right. Which she kind of does at the end. She gives her that pep talk and, like, not really. She kind of, Rey was on the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I'm saying
Whatever,
like
dude.
it's not just that. There are more lessons to learn than that.
Yeah.
Realistically, I mean, you see, for the hero's journey, like in them showing the original Star Wars, none of this has been established. So the Force is lifting rocks and swinging laser swords. That's what it starts as. But Luke comes to the understanding that that's not what it's all about, and he's able to basically say so much of the movie, even though it's Ryan Johnson's movie, no one cares about what Ryan Johnson thinks, blah blah blah, whatever. But realistically, that's what it is. It's not just laser swords and lifting rocks. This is more than that.
But nobody cares about that. So let's get back to laser swords and lifting rocks.
I think that like we're gonna
the philosophical parts of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Nobody really cares.
I do.
Yeah,
I like,
the hardcore fans like the
I
whole
like
the
parts.
balance, and the Force chooses someone, just
Yeah.
bring someone to meet the darkness or whatever
Right.
you want to call it, right?
And-
But most people go there to watch lightsaber fights.
Right.
Let's be
And
real.
People get be salty that he's trained all this time and blah 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 whatever. But we ignore the fact of how sauced Anakin was, even as a 10-year-old. Oh hey, this sport that realistically, how do you even get Anakin into this race? How many races has Anakin done? And he's crashed all of them. So how do you know that he can even do this? Realistically, they say like Anakin's crashed. I'm like, all the adults must have crashed too, because humans don't pod race. And Anakin's just like, oh yeah, I can do it.
I don't know, man. I don't perceive to know these things.
So it's like, yeah, Anakin's out here. Anakin in the Phantom Menace, pod racing, doing a sport humans don't do because they can't, and he's using the Force heavily to do that. Win this pod race, first time a human's ever done that. Then go to Naboo, and when these trained fighters can't destroy this droid control module in space, just hop in the spacecraft, first spacecraft I'm piloting with R2-D2, and just like, oh hey, let me just slide in here, crash inside it, blow it up like it's nothing. Just it's smooth, cool, yeah. Anakin's realistically his first time sitting in the pilot seat of a spacecraft is the best space pilot in the galaxy.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I don't like. Man's been juiced. I mean, he's not swinging a laser sword around. Oh no, but he's still out here doing other things humans can't do. Like I don't know.
People, I don't know. Yeah, like I said,
Like
I don't think arguments against Star Wars, like especially the rules, quote unquote, should be even really made because it's about a bunch of space wizards
Right.
with laser swords. So just enjoy the movie and shut the heck up. dudes.
Heck up. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so it would be really different if in The Force Awakens Rey killed Kylo Ren or some shit. Like,
That would be wild,
like
right?
just like Maul. Oh, he's cool, right? Dead. Or perceived dead. Oh, but that's what it's like. Yeah, you just off him. You're like, okay, help. We built a trilogy of movies where you see Vader for 8 minutes in the first movie. You don't die. What's going on right now? So.
But that being said,
It's wild.
let's get into some predictions for Rise of Skywalker.
Predictions for Rise of Palpatine.
Yes.
Palpatine is back.
I mean, yeah, we know
Actually,
that.
even better, Jar Jar Binks is back.
Nope.
This has been Jar Jar Binks the whole time. Darth Jar Jar.
I veto that. Nope.
Hey, man.
No.
It's
You don't
been
get to
Darth Jar Jar
believe
the whole
that.
time.
He's not going
And
to the movie.
Fuck. What if Darth Jar Jar had been the plan original for real?
I really don't.
Okay,
think-
yeah. I'm still like sliding off predictions. We need to get predictions. Yeah, predictions. All right. Palpatine, I say is back. He has been back. He's a default.
He's always been the bad guy.
He's the dark side.
Since the beginning.
Right.
Since the very first trilogy, all the way through now.
Right.
He's been pulling the strings. I think, along those lines, I think Snoke is either a clone,
Right.
like a failed clone, or just another body. And I think Sidious legit was inhabiting him through the Force, or like possessing him, or he was. I mean, could have been a puppet master. I think it's more likely that he was like using him like an actual body, like a husk.
I don't think that. I think
think
he's
it's
using
that.
like more machinations.
I think it's to match
controlling from behind the
Luke's
scenes.
ridiculous bullshit he pulled off last movie.
Right.
I think you give Palpatine the fact that he was like, yeah, I've like
guiding
legitimately
units.
been possessing, like hacking this dude the whole time.
That'd be interesting.
I think it'd be kind of cool.
That'd be interesting.
I mean, I wouldn't put it out of Palpatine's reach,
Right.
especially since he's alive.
I wonder what realistically they're gonna do in this movie, because I've seen a lot of the if not most of the actual animated or produced stuff, not like the books or comics, but like shows that they've made since Disney's had Star Wars. Palpatine, for a little minute, had access to time travel. Like, realistically, had access to, near the end of Rebels, the character Ezra Bridger, like, is able to solve this puzzle, like the Force, like something like what like the last season is going towards. Like, there's this puzzle, and like it gives you the ability to travel through the Force, like in time, and he's able to go back and save Ahsoka Tano from being killed by Vader. And Palpatine is there, and he's looking into the thing. He can see Ezra there, but I think Ezra has like the key. So he's not able to venture in there, but he can still affect what was going on there. So realistically, the things Disney has established in Star Wars, like things that exist in canon, because all the stuff that they made is canon.
Right.
Like time travel is there at a point. I don't know if Palpatine just gets it, but these levels of things exist. So, and I mean, force projection exists. Effectively warging people. I mean, I guess realistically, if you're strong enough, you could do it.
I think possession could happen through the Force.
It's like all right. So
I mean, they've had it in the. So the comics are another thing that kind of came with the Disney stuff.
Yeah.
The comics, from what I understand, are actually canon.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
That they put out is
which in the comics they did a run where Vader was time traveling, or he was met by a time traveling Sith, like an old Sith.
Yeah.
From like way before Sidious and stuff, who had Vader, was not possessing him, but was like mentally like persuading him to do things.
Yeah.
Vader knew. I guess it was like through this helmet. Some of this guy's spirit was in this helmet or whatever.
Yeah.
And Vader was interacting with that. And then that guy essentially possessed a body because he was possessing the helmet.
Yeah.
With all his Sith energy or whatever, because he had passed away. And because Sith can't do the Force Ghost thing, right? That's kind of been established. Jedi can. Yeah. Sith do it a different way.
It's a different technique.
Right.
They show in the Clone Wars, in the end of the Clone Wars,
that's right,
that Qui-Gon Jinn is learning from these beings he meets. I think the beings like are in the Force.
They
may be the Wills. They may have actually been the Wills.
Yeah, I think they are the Wills.
Like he learns to. He doesn't complete his training of learning to become a Force Ghost, but he interacts with Yoda, and he goes to teach Yoda how to do it, and that's why Yoda's there in Episode 6.
Right.
And then he also teaches, is able to teach Obi-Wan as well.
Right.
Because Qui-Gon isn't limited by where he can be anymore. He's able to introduce himself to his Padawan and then teach him.
Right.
Or his former Padawan and then teach him. Anakin learning it, I don't know. I don't know how Anakin is the Force Ghost at the end of 6. I don't. Whether it's old Sebastian, whatever guy's name is, who was the actual body of Darth Vader, or Hayden Christensen, whichever one, I'm not sure how they learned that technique.
They showed in the Clone Wars talking. Remember, they had that whole thing where they go to the planet with the daughter and the son.
Yeah,
I know it gets wiped from Anakin's memory.
Yeah,
but I mean that could have been enough for him to touch the Force enough to be close. Yeah. I don't know. All I know is that they do
some wild stuff, and it's real interesting the things they do with the character, like even the prophecy, like Anakin was meant to bring balance to the Force, and then they take it in the Clone Wars up to the peak of yes, Anakin, you're meant to replace, like there's the daughter who's the light side of the Force, the father who's like meant to balance them, and the son who's the dark side, and you're meant to replace the father and really balance the Force, like literally, like and it's like crazy how like that is there, and then even they play on those are the characters who like are on the paintings and stuff that they see when they time travel. These are the beings in the Force.
Right.
Like, so it's all interesting, and I wonder how much of that they'll get into for Palpatine in this, because Palpatine is fully aware of that in Rebels, completely aware of all of that level of things going on, like understanding the Force like that.
I think it like what I'm really excited for is I'm hoping some holocrons will pop up.
Right.
Some, whether it's Sith or Jedi. If the Jedi is called holocrons too, they call it something else.
They call holocrons as well.
Yeah, so I think that'll be cool to see. I hope they've always shown them in the shows and stuff.
Yeah.
But we've never seen them in the movies.
Yeah.
And I think
a repository of knowledge that would definitely be interesting.
Yeah. Essentially, they're just like little cubes or little tokens that when you open them, they're usually kind of boxed like puzzles. Essentially, once you open them, it's a whole expanse of knowledge that's usually passed down, and it has to do with the Force, whether it's light or dark.
Yeah.
But I think that would be a cool way for, I guess, Palpatine to come back in a way where like he exists, but like he gets Kylo Ren a holocron or something.
Right.
But then again, Palpatine's always been one to like kind of hoard knowledge, not necessarily share it. So it doesn't make sense for him to have given him one.
And he always he likes to live in the balance of the rule of two.
Right.
Like even in Clone Wars, like there's some other stuff going on, but he's always aware of what's going on, and he still like maintains that rule to when and I always refer back to Clone Wars, but I mean it's the more expansive thing we have what was happening in this time before you just get to the original trilogy, and that's like really tight knit of what's going on around that time. Like Count Dooku becomes his apprentice after Darth Maul is perceived killed, and he has another in Count Dooku trains like assassins. He trains General
Asajj
Grievous.
Ventress
And Asajj Ventress is realistically his apprentice,
right.
For like really like he's like kind of just marauding or parading as an assassin for him, but she's really his apprentice for when he goes to get ready to kill Palpatine, and like move forward. And then in the show, Palpatine realizes this basically like, you played your hand early. I know this is supposed to be your apprentice, so I need you to kill her.
Right.
Like, because either you and her come fight me, or you just kill her. And Dooku, seeing that he's not ready, like knowing he's not ready for that fight, he wasn't. He was nowhere near close already.
Right.
So he just basically goes to kill her, doesn't kill her, but basically betrays her or whatever, something like that. And he gets like even another apprentice, like someone else, like that he tries to train and stuff like that. So it's like, Palpatine likes to live in that rule of two, and if he was like controlling Snoke at a level, they don't call themselves the Sith in 7 or 8.
Right.
They don't refer to themselves as Sith, Dark Lord of the Sith, whatever. Like that part is dead. So I believe Snoke was an Inquisitor, like you meet in.
Yeah, I wouldn't call him a Sith.
Yeah, and they don't refer to themselves as that. And I think even at that point is because if Palpatine was controlling that, he would basically be like, this character's not a Sith. I'm the Sith. I am a Sith.
He's a tool that I've used.
I am a Sith.
Right.
I'm something else.
Right.
I'm something else entirely. And that was really even playing more into the not understanding like Kylo Ren fighting Rey in like, or the couple times they do interact or whatever. It's like, yeah, you're good because you're like lineage or whatever, right. But it's still like, no, I am power, and that'll be. I expect to get Kylo Ren's redemption in this. It's the rise of Skywalker, not the fall of Skywalker.
Right, he'll get a redemption.
Around to do whatever. I don't think they're gonna go into. They can go to where Rey came from. I don't think her parentage is anything important. She might be like a clone or some other thing. And always think cloning as weird. Like, them cloning Luke and stuff is like weird. But I'm like, there's the Clone Wars. They had literally
we had mentioned that last week. That technology exists in the Star Wars universe.
It totally exists and was just commonplace.
Yeah, people just forget because they think, like, that's so stupid. And
he's like, wait, oh. There's a whole Clone Wars. Oh yeah, I guess.
The Kaminoans were supposedly the only people who were able to do it.
Yeah.
On this scale.
Yeah, exactly. But it doesn't necessarily mean other people weren't able to do it at a smaller scale.
Exactly. So I think,
and if they took over the planet, they just take the technology. They don't need to blow up the whole planet. Like,
right.
I don't need you. I just need the stuff.
Yeah. So I think it'll be Sidious will definitely it'll be that Snoke will get some kind of explanation. They've heard the audience. They're gonna explain what Snoke was.
Right.
I think that's gonna be one of the earlier things they do in the movie, and I think that Kylo Ren will get his redemption. You're right. And as far as the other, I mean, I don't know. I don't think Rey's lineage is important. I think that if they do show it, I don't think it'll be like Obi-Wan or even she won't even be a Skywalker. I think she'll just be some character. She might be related to somebody, but it's more likely at this point.
Realistically,
it's more likely at this point that she's related to like Lando than she is anybody else. Like he's got this. It's the same amount of chance.
Right.
So it doesn't. To me, it doesn't matter as much. I think Chewbacca will die. That is That is my
Right.
massive weird prediction that he'll die and join Han Solo.
On the other side.
Yeah, but I think that, like you said, I think that'd be cool if they introduce some more of the weird Force stuff that doesn't happen as much in the movies as it does like in the Clone Wars and stuff. Because they even the quote unquote final season or the lost season of Clone Wars where Yoda visits Dathomir or wherever it was, the Sith,
Whatever planet, yeah.
that Sith planet with that temple, and they had what's his name?
Darth
was
Bane.
it Bane? That's right.
Yeah.
Who created the Rule of Two?
Yeah.
Like one of the original, like, well, not original, but like one of the very first well-known Sith.
Right.
And
they, at least what they gleaned from the, old extended universe.
right, and so Yoda goes there off of something's pulling him there,
Yeah.
and he goes and he actually battles that Force Ghost, and he battles Sidious at one point. This is before he fights him in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
But
Basically just to understand that, that there is more going on than you were paying attention
the Sith
to.
are still alive and well.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. Because, like, you guys got to remember in the original trilogy or the prequel trilogy, the Sith supposedly don't exist anymore.
Right.
That's the whole reason why the Jedi are so ineffective, is because they're arrogant in the fact that they believe that nothing is going on,
Right.
and they have it locked down. When, as a matter of fact, this whole separatist thing is not just separatists versus the Republic. It's a full on like Sith power pool.
Right.
So that's why a lot of people are like, well, how can there are so many Jedi and how can they get tricked by Palpatine? It's like they are clouded in their judgment because of their arrogance and all this stuff. And it's weird because if you go watch Yoda in the Clone Wars, he knows that something's going on, but then you go back to Revenge of the Sith and he's back to being like do nothing Yoda.
Right.
So
I mean, and I think it was because like he's trying to at a level trying to like meditate on it and see, but like the future is so cloudy. Is like what Sidious is doing is like clouding the future so much that you can't even see that you're about to be betrayed. Order 66, like all of you're blind to all of this that goes on so much that you're trying to like perceive and all those other things.
Right.
You're following events, but you're like, like even you can't. The masters can't perceive events like they used to.
right, and I think only like a handful of the Jedi Masters were actually a reason. Some like, well, how did some of them escape or anything like that? If you watch the Revenge of the Sith, it's very subtle, but Yoda, before it happens, knows he's about to be betrayed. But it takes all the way up until the very last minute.
Yeah.
And he turns around and kills those clone troopers before they could even
Get him.
yeah, exactly. So some of the masters probably only maybe at like 2 or 3.
And then a lot of the masters like went in with Mace Windu to arrest Palpatine.
Yeah, so you got those 4 guys who they weren't slouches. People
Right.
are like, oh, they got ice,
He
but
just went through them like a hot knife through
yeah,
butter.
Sidious is just
because
that
he was
dude.
He was that strong.
He's that guy. But you also have to remember, and this is leaning more into like the whole balance thing. Sidious, it wasn't because Sidious was just like this badass Sith dude.
Right.
And there was some of that going on, but I mean, he was doing more political stuff than he was like sitting there training lightsaber.
Right.
But it's more so the rule of 2 allows the Sith to be ridiculously strong because the Force has to balance itself out. And if you think about how many Jedi there were running around, for
Right.
them to match, you'd have to have him and his apprentice,
Right.
whatever it was, to be stupid strong.
Realistically.
And that's how the Force works.
Right.
So I think
That's
that
how-
gets
that's how
lost in the
it's supposed to
sauce.
work. And that's why realistically when Luke is by himself, I mean, he doesn't defeat Palpatine, but he causes it.
Right.
He causes the original defeat of
Right.
Palpatine.
And he's legit like the only.
Yeah, Anakin basically switches back and is like, I got all this juice. I'm gonna come back your side. Hey, fucking dumps
Right.
him. And that's realistic what's going on. And even then, Palpatine loses that duel to Mace Windu. Like the movie has you think like, oh, he still had power, whatever. He was losing. If Anakin hadn't showed up, he would have died.
Right.
If Anakin hadn't been there and stopped Mace, he would have died. That wasn't a ploy to get Anakin to like choose him or whatever. He was about to die.
Right.
And because Mace Windu's force, like his lightsaber style, is built for fighting against dark side users.
Yeah.
And
It's an aggressive
and even
Bob pad or whatever.
yeah, Vapad is the lightsaber form, and I'm not sure how much still exists in like actual canon.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
the way they had it written in EU stuff is like everyone he had taught this to had fallen to the dark side because how it draws on your emotions. He had so much control of his emotions that he can actually use light and dark side techniques
Right.
and be fine. But anyone he had taught his lightsaber technique had fallen
It's
to
a
the
very
dark side.
essentially it's a very aggressive.
Yeah.
It's a form used to really kill people. It's not used to
Yeah.
just win a fight. It's used to make sure that opponent dies. So
Yeah. It's like he uses their anger against them,
Mm-hmm.
like he channels it back at them, like a technique like that. But Mace is balanced. Like
it's perfect that it's Samuel Jackson.
yeah,
Because he's Mr. Motherfucker.
motherfucker.
And
Yeah.
it makes sense for him to just be like,
Yeah, I'm
use their
still,
own
still salty
energy.
I don't have my motherfuckers just in Star Wars. That like, where would you
Say do it again. Not how dare you.
I think I know take a motherfucker.
Do it now.
Do it. But yeah, I mean, and then even like the fall of Anakin and stuff like that. A lot of people don't like the prequels, but if you follow the events like on the hero's journey, like what's happening, not necessarily how it's portrayed in movie form, but the events that are happening, it tells a solid story of the fall of Anakin Skywalker.
Right. Or even a fall of just the Jedi
Yeah.
in general. I think if you look at it the perspective of Sidious not necessarily being on his side, but watching the machinations of this dude
Yeah.
and then like being able to like execute a plan of this scale
Right.
and trick like hundreds of Jedi. I think that's cool in and of itself. And I think because people are like, but I want to be a Jedi, so it makes more sense. But
Right.
like realistically, I mean,
The good side doesn't always win.
yeah,
I mean, in
it's a Star Wars movie. It'll be the good guys will
so
win,
the
but
good side doesn't always win. And you see in Revenge of the Sith, I mean, Obi-Wan beats Anakin, but thousands of Jedi get murdered.
Yeah.
Temple on Coruscant sacked. Like, the Empire starts there.
Rogue
really.
One's ending is pretty raw too. So
Yeah. So it doesn't necessarily translate to, like, the good guys always win. That's not at least not a thing they play to on the whole.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have the prequels, the good guys win, or the prequels or the bad guys win. The original where the good guys win, and then now we're hoping to see another good guys win.
I'm
type
sure
situation.
it will
I
be.
mean, yeah.
It's more than likely it's going to be an homage to the Return of the Jedi, I think, which would be cool. I mean, it's Rise of Skywalker, so I think as far as predictions for the movie, light side will win. I think Rey will survive. I think Kylo Ren will die. Actually, I know he's a Skywalker, but
Yeah.
I think he'll die, and I think it'll be in a sacrifice kind of type of way.
to make sure that the dark side doesn't like get to do whatever it wants to do.
Yeah.
I wonder how they're gonna really handle Leia in this movie. I mean, she's
I think she'll just go to like retirement, like
I know
she'll
she's-
just
I know she
space
passed away,
retirement,
but it's
whatever.
like because I know in the Last Jedi, Kylo Ren wasn't able to shoot at her on the ship, and she may be his path back to the light.
You know,
I'm not sure. Like I'm saying, what they're gonna do with the character, like enough of like she still died. Like I know she lived for a point, but like her dying or something like that, like is able to bring him something able to redeem him. Because realistically, if she's completely out of it, what reason does he have to come
that's
back?
his last. Yeah, that's his
That's
last
his
tether.
real last connection to anything. I know he at the end. I mean, the dark side does blind you, and you become obsessed with this power and all that type of stuff. Because he even was like that near toward the end of the second act of the Last Jedi. But still, like either it's like realistically, he's the Skywalker left, Skywalker blood left in his Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah,
And they love their redemptions, man. I mean that's kind of the point.
that's true.
It's like you will finish. I will finish what you started, and what Anakin started was destroying the dark side. That was
Right.
the last thing he did.
That's true. Yeah, I'm on board with that. But yeah, I mean that was all I had for predictions.
Yeah.
Unless you had any more.
So, no, that was it. Man, we really talked at length about it.
That's true.
Got it all. I like that.
But yeah, we're pretty ready for Star Wars. It'll be coming out this week. So, or not this week. I'm sorry. By the next podcast episode we do, we might. Should we hold off? Do we want to do one and then watch the movie? Maybe we might do an episode after we watch the movie. I think we can slide.
Yeah, well, we're definitely flexible in that. Look at maybe either episode come out on a different day, or if like enough news happens in the meantime, something else pops off, we can make a podcast about that.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely better to do this now, a week in advance, versus trying to get a podcast episode out. Realistically, we would record the podcast after people have already seen the movie.
Right. So
The next week. So yeah, maybe we can just be like completely un-Star Wars related. That way, we're not like worried about like being any spoilers or anything like that for that weekend, and then
that's
everything
true.
else is good.
That's true. All right.
But,
What else do we have on our docket? We have one other thing, right?
Oh yeah,
Before we dip
wind
out.
Yeah, we got
We
like
have our segment.
Oh baby, welcome back to the DComs section of the podcast, Disney Channel original movies. And up this week is Halloween Town.
Ooh, spooky.
Spooky. That lady doesn't work for that company anymore. She's not working on that game anymore. She's doing something else. The Japanese lady from E3 who goes, she's talking about Ghostwire Tokyo. It's spooky.
Oh yeah.
That lady, yeah, she don't work there anymore.
Oh well.
Yeah. I mean, she's working on a different company, different game now, but she doesn't work there anymore.
That is a deep cut.
I mean, hey man, people like
There was fan art.
Three things happened at E3. That lady, Keanu Reeves, and the dog with John Bernthal. Those are the things that happened during E3.
That's true.
Those are the things that happened. So yeah, and what we got for Halloween Town is a 90s. Like, I'm not sure when. It was 90s.
It's 90s. They're all 90s.
98.
Yeah.
A lot. It was leading toward the end.
Late 90s.
Halloween movie. Good Halloween stuff.
Yeah. A lot of fun Halloween stuff in there. They have like cab driver.
Yeah.
All skeleton.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, what's the plot? Let's go through the plot.
Plot of
Let's
the movie.
Keep it real.
Well, at least we'll, synopsis.
Yeah.
Started in it. Girl Marnie.
Mm-hmm.
She lives with her mom and her younger brother and her even younger sister.
Mm-hmm.
And their mom really doesn't celebrate Halloween much.
Right.
But their grandma loves it. Comes visits only on Halloween.
Yeah.
And she comes to bring the Halloween spirit like with her when she comes. And come to find out that it's Marnie's 13th birthday,
Mm-hmm.
or 13th Halloween. She turned 13 around this. I don't know. That part is a little flexes. But
Right.
I guess on your 13th Halloween around then,
Yeah.
you start to develop your magical powers, and come to find out Marnie's grandmother is a witch.
Yep.
I think her mom
Gave it the powers
Yeah, she had some level of powers,
to
but
be
didn't-
with immortals. Yeah.
didn't train, like follow through like full training just so she can be with her mortal husband
Mhm.
in the real world and that type of stuff. So Marnie has the capability for it. Her family, it's genetic realistically, and so she has the potential to be a witch.
Right.
And so that's where the movie gets started on. That's the premise of what's going on. But her grandma she's only able to visit on Halloween because that's when the bus comes from Halloween Town to the mortal realm. When all the ghouls, goblins, or whatever can walk around amongst normal people and not be seen as weird or stuff like that. You just some guy in a really good costume and stuff like that. So that's why she visits on Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And so grandmother comes and basically is talking to her mom about, hey, it's your daughter's 13th Halloween, witch powers. She's about to kick up those magic abilities, and her mom is like, no,
Nah.
to be normal. Tryna
We ain't
block.
having no magic in my house.
Yeah, trying to block on her for her magic and stuff like that. And like Marnie's always like love Halloween. Her brother's like stick up his butt stickler type character. Little sister's just there.
She's a little sister.
Kid, little
She's a
kid
little
along
kid.
for the adventure. You know what I'm saying?
Little kid.
And then so what they end up doing is like they wonder why they're I think they hear her talking,
Yeah.
or like hear their grandmother and mom talking about like stuff like basically like about her being a witch and stuff like that. Like, no, that can't be true. Whatever. And then Marnie's like, she's gonna follow her grandmother home and then see like what's going on because she hears like Halloween Town or whatever. So she follow her. They sneak on her bus, and then they follow her, and then they transports her back to Halloween Town. And they get off the bus, and then there's goblins and ghouls and skeletons and pumpkin heads and everyone else walking around. And he's like, "This is which I mean, the kids freak like her brother is like, oh, this is like weird and stuff like that. But I mean, it went from nighttime to daytime real quick. So I think the sun just came back. I think that would be a clear thing that you're not where you thought you were.
Right.
Realistically,
You would think.
And so like they're there and they're following their grandmother around because they're just really trying to see like what's going on. They're mystified by this new world of Halloween Town and all that stuff going on, and it basically just plays out like seeing like what it would be like in a small town with ghosts and goblins and all that type of stuff going on. They're following their grandmother around. You see other people like they get to this cab, who then the driver's a skeleton.
Yeah.
Just in the driver's seat driving around. Go to like a gym where you have like this I think it's a werewolf lady teaching like this aerobics class to other ghouls and stuff like that, and it's just like they're like they live life like we live life. They're
normal society, just everybody's a monster.
They're just monsters,
right?
So they have all this stuff going on, and basically it comes at her. This guy, I don't even know if you even know his name's Calabar. Even at that point, you meet Calabar.
Yeah,
he's like the mayor of Halloween Town,
right?
And then basically this thing happens where this other monster wizard thing shows up and talks to their grandmother, and it's like basically he's trying to take over Halloween. He's trying to take over the mortal world, realistically.
Right.
He's trying to get his monsters, like turn them into more feral versions of themselves to go and take over the mortal world. And basically what he does is like hits the grandmother with a spell, and it paralyzes her. Their mom follows them, like, because she lost them. I mean, you'd notice in your house if you had 3 kids and you turn around and none of your
It
3
depends.
kids are here.
If your name is McAllister, if your last name is McAllister,
In your house, though. I mean, if you're in your house.
If your last name is McAllister, you'd get on a plane and leave your child in New York City. That's how bad of a mother you are. That's a Home Alone reference for those of you who don't get it.
It's a Christmas movie. It's different. Double Christmas movies. But yeah, it's like, well, so she comes there, whatever, sees the thing, like their grandmother's, like has been like frozen there than like the movie theater. Like a bunch of people there just like been possessed, almost like they're petrified and stuff like in the movie theater. And they both, their mom and their grandmother, get petrified, and they're like on this. The quest becomes to unpetrify everybody, defeat this guy. Their grandmother, they actually met with her and had like discussed like her plan to reverse the effects of all the people that happened in the movie theater, defeat this guy and stuff. I don't know what the MacGuffin was for this movie. I understand some parts of what they needed to get. I know the spell to activate it. I got that locked away in here. But it was almost like
information for 100
like a
hours.
scepter with a light at the top. Like they needed to plant this in the pumpkin in the center of Halloween Town, and it would win. It would win the battle. That was the capture the flag moment. So they set on an adventure to get the things they need. They need the sweat from a ghost and werewolf hair and stuff. Just eat.
Yeah. Basically, they got to go to a bunch of BS like witch brew items.
Yeah.
It's to play off like a witch's cauldron.
Yeah.
To get this
put
item.
these items together and put them in the scepter and activate it to defeat the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
They do that. They make this stuff and then they put it in the scepter and they don't know what to say. And then that's when little sister comes in and she's like,
I'm useful
because I remember. It's like a song. It's like, Be Tima, Be Tiki Fear, Be Tiki Gain, Heareth, Leeth, Annoyeth, Big. And then she says that and it lights up and then they win. And then flashlight.
I can't believe you remember that.
Hey man,
I watched it recently and I don't remember it.
I have a bunch of just random. I'm gonna have dementia. I'm not gonna remember my kids, but I'm gonna remember that.
That's horrible.
They just saw a thing recently. They said like your music and stuff you remember dementia doesn't affect that. Like you forget people, like your children, but you remember songs.
That's messed up.
Like that's fucked.
Yo, the brain's messed up,
Brain's
bro.
fucked. But yeah, so what do you think of it? This is a general plot synopsis. They get the scepter to the center of Halloween Town into the pumpkin. After the dude hits her with a spell like 3-4 times, like he's lighting her up. Realistically, she was resistant. He's like pow pow pow. He hits her a couple times. You know what I'm saying? And they took one and they were done. She drops it. So she's in the top and she drops it. and it just falls in perfectly because magic. You know what I'm
His
saying?
movies.
But, yeah. So what did you think?
I mean, it was a fun movie. Like, like it was decent.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the better known and more interesting Disney Channel original movies, Halloween Town, especially because there's a trilogy. So
Right.
people remember Halloween Town and it comes out on Halloween every year.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an event. I liked it. I liked all the characters. I don't like it was cheesy, but I don't think anything was so ridiculous like the last few Disney Channel original movies.
Right.
The plot is
There were those
watchable.
skate-better moments.
It's interesting. It's fun to follow.
Right.
Anytime you go somewhere that's like a different world, like Isekai,
Yeah.
it's gonna be pretty fun. It's gonna be interesting. I like the fact that it's like it plays a lot off of like the Sabrina the Teenage Witch thing, where like you have to hide who you are. Like the grandma's got secrets, and I think that's fun. Like them being like, oh, grandma's got all these secrets, and then following grandma. Like I think all of that is very interesting. I like all like the kind of not Looney Tunes, but like goofy Halloween Town characters
Yeah.
who, yeah, like you said, the plot was to make them like more like their realistic counterparts, like the stories they're from. No, I liked it. It was a decent movie. It's fun. It was funny. There were parts that were like legitimately funny. It was a fun like little flick. So I would recommend it. I would give it 2 thumbs up.
Definitely. I'll also give it 2 thumbs up. I enjoyed it. It's definitely a Halloween staple.
Yeah.
One of the I guess better, just especially if you have like younger kids, Halloween movie. It's like pretty straightforward. I mean, some people get like, oh no, it's a cult. I mean, yeah, Halloween.
He said, yeah.
Yeah, it's Halloween. What do you expect? Like it's like good-hearted good faith, like your family importance type deal. It has a good premise and like that. It's like in understanding who you are through your legacy and portraying that forward in a positive way, not being, not. I mean, your grandma's not saying nothing wild. You know what I'm saying?
She's not being like racist.
Right.
It's easier to get behind grandma when she's not being racist.
Right. It's real easy. Real easy. I mean, it's even like a girl power movie at a level. Like,
yeah, I would say that.
Really,
she's a
guy on the good side. Really, is her brother.
Yeah, he's kind of like a lame ass.
Yeah, holding it back at a level.
Really, yeah,
type
he really
deal.
is
So
just
it's
a wet blanket.
Yeah. So it was like grandma doing her thing, mom trying to do her thing, and Marnie like leading the team, and even the little sister pulling out, being useful and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd recommend it. It's a good watch.
It's good. I know we're gonna do Halloween Town 2 at some point. That's another.
They all meld to me. I remember Halloween Town 3 the most because that's the most recent one.
That's the one, the college one, right? The school one.
Kind of.
Halloween Town 2.
She's got like that guy that kind of likes her in that one.
Oh
and
yeah.
they go to like a homecoming or a prom or something. There's like a dance. The mom gets try to trick the mom into becoming like a witch again too.
There might be 4 movies, legit. 'Cause there's one where like Halloween Town High, I think, is no, it's a college. I thought
Bro, I don't remember.
Halloween Town University. I don't.
What's next week's decom?
Next week's decom is Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century.
God.
This is another banger. They let me see. Is this?
Stop using that word for things that don't make sense. These are not bangers.
I want to say I don't remember Can of Worms. 13 Years of Banger, Smart House banger, Johnny Tsunami banger, Genius banger. Okay. Yeah, we don't skip Can of Worms.
Hyperbole. None of these.
Let's skip that. We go straight. I don't remember. What is it? Let me look at what it is.
Xenon?
We skipping the clothes off that movie.
Xenon?
Can of Worms is that weird alien. I remember seeing that picture and I was like, no, I don't remember seeing this. I don't remember watching this.
Look, next week watch Xenon.
Xenon Girl of the 21st Century was another.
Raven is in that movie, ain't she?
Yes.
So this was like Raven's kind of debut, because this is before Raven gets her TV show.
Or before, yes.
Well,
Disney
I mean before
debut.
Cosby show, Cosby show, right? But I mean,
yeah.
I'm talking about on Disney.
Debut.
Yeah.
Realistically, yeah.
So yeah, check it out. We'll watch that movie. I'm gonna hate myself, I'm sure, because I'm not into those.
I'm ready to go, baby.
Oh God.
I'm all for it. I'm here.
But yeah, I'm more looking forward to Star Wars than that. But I guess we're doing a space theme this week. Unfortunately,
Hey, yeah.
Xenon and Star Wars.
Yeah. See, Xenon's in space. Yeah, humanity of our Earth in the space station. You know what
Boo.
I'm
Anyways,
saying? Boo.
boo, you suck. Yeah, I thought that was all I had
Yeah.
this week.
So this week, it's good. Another good week of podcasts. This one's not as long, but still another one, solid length. Appreciate the feedback we're getting, and enjoying just having good conversation, man. Just good stuff.
Yeah,
Definitely
hopefully you
enjoying
guys learned something. I think that's really like one of the goals is keep you guys informed, of course, because we're in that world a lot more than probably most of our listeners once we start getting them too.
it. Right.
Like as far as comic book news and all that stuff.
That type of stuff, yeah.
But and just like some of the random like
Insights,
random ass insight and knowledge we have and the bullshit we like and the
Yeah.
dumb things that we like.
And that's the thing. I think it's also the name of the podcast, but like leaning into stuff, talking about stuff that we have some knowledge of, not just being like, oh yeah, I'm about to talk to you at length about Warhammer 40K.
About
I don't
cars,
know
yeah.
I don't know anything about
Yeah.
that. Like, so I wouldn't talk to you about that.
Right.
Because I don't know. So you don't know. So it's like me talking to myself realistically,
Mm-hmm.
or me talking at you about it. Like, I like topics where our interests overlap and we can bounce stuff back and forth on.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so check it out next week. Hopefully we got something coming at you guys. Just stay posted. We'll probably do like a shorter episode this coming week.
Yeah.
Right before Star Wars drops, and then we'll go watch Star Wars, and you'll hear those thoughts and stuff when that movie or when that podcast comes out the following week.
Yeah, definitely.
So maybe this next week we'll do Christmas movies or something real quick.
Maybe.
We
Oh,
can
yeah,
do that. We got
definitely.
tons to talk about. Christmas. We love Christmas movies, and
Oh yeah.
there's tons to talk about there. But
Tons.
that was all I had. So
And that's all I got. And that's all for this week's episode of the Dumb Stuff We Like podcast. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
see ya.